Thank you, Brad. I want to apologize for incorrectly announcing his song. We were talking about Dylan Thomas backstage and I spliced up the title. So, Brad on I Will Not Be Leaving Quietly. So thank you to Brad Byton's August. Thank you.
Wonderful. So next we have two speakers, but before I introduce them, I just wanted to tell the people this is the United Nations office at Geneva. So the headquarters in New York, but this is the United Nations office at Geneva, just to clarify, because some people might think this is the headquarters, but it's like the Genevan base, okay? So our next speakers are coming from the United States of America. I'm happy that I'm able to introduce two strong women that I saw 2 times on the High Wire, and now they are here with us. Kristen, Meghan Kelly and Tammy Clark are seasoned exposure scientists known as industrial hygienists with over 40 years of experience. They specialize in anticipating, recognizing and controlling health hazards in workplaces and public spaces. Their expert testimonies were pivotal in challenging improper pandemic responses, defeating mandates across the US, and fostering international education on effective public health measures. Welcome, you two strong women on stage. Thank you.
Thank you, and hello, Geneva. It's great to be with you, world. It's great to be with you here in the Lion's Den, in the heart of globalism. But we have a message to encourage, inspire, and educate you, hopefully to activate you to all be the solutions in your own communities, because local politics is really where politics happens. If you can take back things in your local communities and your nations, we can save the world.
Hello, bonjour! Many of you in this crowd today may know me as the United States Air Force geoengineering whistleblower. But today I am here to educate the world and promote unity. As discussed in our introduction, we are the critical responders during a pandemic. Unfortunately, our professions were sidelined, leading to a harmful promotion of ineffective control measures. So what is a control measure? We follow something called the hierarchy of safety and controls. And over the past 4 years, engineering controls were the corrective action needed. And as soon as it was known that COVID was aerosolized. For example, increasing your air exchanges lifts this hazard out of the breathing zone because COVID-19 is primarily spread through the inhalation of aerosols into the deep lung. Masks, N95s, and KN95s, they were not utilized properly and did little, if anything, to reduce the risk of this exposure. Plexiglass barriers and dots promoting 6-foot social distancing defy the science and common sense, given that we understand the behavior of aerosols, which in stagnant air can stay suspended for days and weeks. And as somebody who has managed the respiratory protection programs of almost 80,000 employees, I know that masks provide a less than 1% risk reduction against COVID-19 aerosols. And guess what? They also create a greater barrier for you and the people around you. Proper personal protective equipment would have been something called controlled air and powered air purifying respirators going over your face like this, which they protect both the lungs and the eyes. That ocular hazard was neglected by the promotion of masks. Healthcare professionals are required to utilize these tools for maximum protection. It's our law in the United States and in many of your countries. It's not just crucial, it is imperative that our governments, irrespective of any political parties or affiliations, listen to the experts in our field. Our governments listen to the experts with 0 credentials. This is a strong reminder that we have to prioritize listening to the real experts. Especially those of us who stand up and never profited. So Tammy, why did the government abandon in lockstep all of the known science that we have utilized for decades to successfully handle all public health emergencies?
Well, that's a great question, Kristen, and it's something that I wondered about myself, especially because we saw all governments of the world in lockstep abandon known, proven science that has dictated pandemic control measures for decades in favor of control measures that made no sense, were not based on science, and actually increased the spread. Those of us in our profession of industrial hygiene and occupational hygiene have utilized these known, proven control measures very successfully during public health emergencies and disease outbreaks for decades. In fact, we must do so by law. So when we saw all governments of the world in lockstep abandon the science and the scientists and the experts who manage pandemics, we knew something was very wrong. This is why Kristen and I stood up and blew the whistle on the very inappropriate and irresponsible control measures that they were mandating on the entire world. We knew they didn't work because they have trained us. There is nobody better to blow the whistle on the government than government-trained experts. So why are we here today? To expose this for what it is, an attempted global coup led by the World Health Organization to control all of humanity. They are using fear and terms like health and safety to push a very false narrative in a coordinated global manner in an attempt to control every human being on the planet. This is not about your health and safety. If it was, we would be the very first ones telling you it is and to follow the recommendations because we are health and safety professionals. This is about control. Utilizing the terms health and safety because that's how they get you to comply out of fear.
And remember, your silence is viewed as consent, but together and collectively, we outnumber these sociopaths.